so I'm doing mine on Giant Springs State Park. The state park manager that I interviewed was Jason Pignanelli. He attended West Virginia University, got a recreational tourism degree, and after he graduated, he actually became a wrangler, and he also did that in the Virgin Islands, so super cool for him. He worked with the U.S. Navy as the Outdoor Recreation Branch Manager in Great Lakes, Illinois, and he actually made the first morale, wellness, and recreation program in that naval base in Great Springs. It's the second largest program in the country, which is pretty great. And it falls under Department of Defense, all that. And then we have, this is just a picture of some of the stuff on the Navy base. And then after the Navy base, he moved to work at the Evergreen Lodge, which is right outside Yosemite. And he also developed their first recreational program, which is really cool. And then after that, he went to Missoula, Montana to work as outdoor manager and created the Partners in Parks volunteer program, which gives scholarships to kids and gets them involved in their local park system. Oh, and this is a picture of the Evergreen Lodge. Okay, this is Jason. Yeah, sprightly guy. This is Missoula, Montana. It's cool, a little flat. So what does a state park manager do? He's basically just the park administrator. He oversees all the budgeting, all the financial aspects, as well as staffing and doing contracts such as like conservation easements, as well as facility and land management. And they also do a lot of event planning. They host a lot of events ranging from just like trail walks to, birthday parties, weddings, and they even have concerts there. They've had like 15,000 people in the park at once for concerts, which is pretty cool. And they'll hire like outside vendors, so he has to deal with all that. And he said that they've never like fully reached carrying capacity, but for these events, like they'll shuttle in a lot of people though. So from like outside parking lots. And one cool thing was all concessionaires, they have to have a commercial use permit. So if they're going to be making money in the park whatsoever, they have to get this permit. Even photographers, he told me that people do like senior pictures there, and photographers have to get special use permits and like pay to use the area since they're making money off of it, which is pretty cool. I think that's great. Now to actually show you the park, this is part of the springs. The creation, it was discovered by Lewis and Clark in their expedition in 1805. The area, it was first owned by Montana Power, but they leased it out to the city of Great Falls and to the founder, Paris Gibson, and he made that area into a city park, which became State Park later on in 1972. And then Northwestern Energy, they created 5 major dams in the park, like 4,000 acre area, and they actually signed that off in like a conservation easement that they have with the park, so they share that land. And because they needed someone to manage it, so they figured why not give it to the park, they could look after it, use it for recreation, but they still use it like for the hydroelectric dams. So it has a lot of economic use as well as resources on the site. In 1888, there was a smelting and refining company, so they had silver smelters and they mined out all of that, which left a lot of contamination in the area. They ended up having to dredge up all the soil where the smelters were located and switching that out because it was highly contaminated. And then in 1993, the Giant Springs was leased out to a bottling company, so they used the water. And then a malting company uses the water as well now, and they just started those operations. The malting company just started like a few years ago, and it had to get an environmental impact statement to make sure it wasn't, harming the area. There's lots of attractions in the park. It's the largest freshwater springs in the country. The spring, also known as the Black Eagle Spring by the Blackfeet Indians, Flows at 156 million gallons of water per day from the Madison Aquifer, which is pretty crazy. And it takes about 26 years for the water to reach those springs. So a long process. There's also like just a really nice setup around the springs. I have some pictures that will show you that attracts a lot of people. And the events I told you about, how they host lots of events. There's Fall Family Fest, which he said is a really big one. Brings in 12 to 15,000. And then there's the Trout Hatchery, which is the only hatchery that is in a state park. So it's pretty cool. You can see that. This is just a picture of the park. Yeah. There's stairs and the spring. Okay. So this is the most visited park in Montana. It's pretty cool. Visitation count, it exceeds 440,000 a year, and they don't count visitors, they count visitation. So like if one guy goes 50 times in one day, it's going to be 50 visits. They're not going to count him as just one visitor coming in for the day. And then recreation, lots of stuff to do, hiking, check out the hatchery, nature tours, wildlife viewing. They have exhibits which tell you about the area, photography, bird watching, all of that. And then they have some facilities in the park which include the ranger station, the hatchery, interpretive displays. They have camping, picnic areas, and wedding facilities. This is one of the interactive displays at the fish hatchery. And then this is the fish hatchery. It's pretty cool. They've got some trout and stuff. This is like just one of their event schedules, like everything from 2015. But as you can see, like they've got a lot of stuff going on, like almost every week during the summer. Some challenges this park faces is vandalism. He said they don't really have a lot of issues because everyone really appreciates the resource and take care of it. But vandalism has been on the rise. Says they can't really do anything except talk to people about it and try to educate people. But they use enforcement and patrol often and just clean it up as soon as possible because they want safe and clean spaces for visitors. They work with quite a few different people. Active partners include Northwestern Energy, Lewis and Clark Caverns Association, Our Montana Incorporation, Montana State Park Foundation, etc. And then bibliography. I'm not going to read that, but at your own leisure.